There are so many people right now, and maybe you're one of those people, who are looking to better the quality of their lives. They're starting to think about changing professions, leaving their jobs, quitting their jobs, starting up their own business, working from home, because people are thinking about the quality of life, thinking about what legacy they want to leave, the messages that they have to get out to the world, just living in a different way. Instead of working 10, 12 hours a day plus travel time, they're thinking, what else could I be doing with my life that I really want to do? Instead of worrying about the goals of the company that I'm working for, what about my own personal goals? What about the goals that I have for my life and the things that I want to do? And so if that's you, then I got something in this video just to share with you that you might find interesting and just might help you to think a little bit about how you can start to achieve your goals, and especially how you can achieve them in the fastest way possible. First of all, if you want to achieve your goals, just be conscious of the fact that there are different ways about going about it. And I say this because even though the things that I'm going to tell you are no-brainers, but sometimes we don't even think about stuff. We're not conscious, we're not aware of them. And so the first thing is you can do it all by yourself. You can do that. You can, just kind of look around, look at videos, maybe like you're doing right now. Maybe you're just starting to do this, to kind of see what's out there, just trying to figure out, talk to some people, see what you can find out. But, if you do that, even if you find the right people, if you find the right things to do, the question is, how long is that going to take you? The second thing that you could do is you could go to courses and seminars. And what I always say is, when you go to a course or a seminar, especially a live seminar, you're not only going to learn from the people on stage, the person who's actually the seminar leader, you're going to learn from also the people that are in the audience when you go to lunch, when you go to dinner, when you're in breaks, because you're going to find people who are there for the same reasons that you're there. And so great people to mix with and network with. Maybe you can create some really good relationships, And those things, courses, seminars, self-help books, they all work if you apply then what you learn. Otherwise, it's not going to work. The fastest way, though, that I have learned, and I'm so thankful that I learned this many years ago, is that if you want to get to where you want to get to in the fastest way possible, the best way is to get a coach. Somebody who has 6 characteristics. The reason I say this is because this is what I look for when I look for a coach. And I have a coach right now. I've always had a coach. I've had a coach for years now. It's not always the same coach. Sometimes I'll change based on the evolution of my business or my personal endeavors. And I might need, this particular point in my life, I might need a coach to help me to do this. Right now, I have a coach who's helping me with online marketing. Before, I had a coach who was helping me a lot with personal development, mindset, beliefs, figuring out what I wanted to do in life coaching. So different times call for different types of coaches. At any rate, the type of coach that I look for has to have these characteristics. The first thing that I look for in a coach is that it has to be somebody who's already done what I'm trying to do. So I don't want somebody who thinks they know, who says they know, who saw somebody else do it and then they tell me that I can do this too. I want somebody who's already done it. I want somebody who has the practical experience that can give me practical examples of what they did to get to where they're at right now. The second characteristic that I look for is that it has to be somebody who has the knowledge to be able to teach me what it is I need to know to get from where I am to where I want to be. So you might say, well, if they've already done it, that means they probably already have the knowledge. And I say not necessarily, because if they were born with a silver spoon in their mouth, they might not know what I need to do to get from where I'm at to where I want to be. So it needs to be somebody who has that knowledge. The third characteristic is it needs to be somebody who knows how to communicate in an effective way. I don't need big fancy words. I don't need these theoretical models that you tell me about unless you can tie it to practical examples. I need simplicity in communication. I don't need a whole lot of fancy stuff. Just tell me what I need to do and make sure that I can receive this communication so I can understand quickly exactly what I need to do. The fourth characteristic that I look for, it has to be somebody who is willing to help me to get to where I want to get to. They have to be willing to do that. It's easy to find, or relatively easy to find somebody who has 5 minutes over a cup of coffee to give you some tips and advice. But if I need more than tips and advice, I need somebody who's going to take me by the hand, tuck me under their wing, and walk me through the entire process, and who really wants to see me succeed, who really cares about my success. That's what I want. And if I have to pay you for that, then so be it. But that's what I need. The next step is it has to be somebody who holds you accountable. So I can't tell you how many times over the years, over the last 5-6 years, this has happened a lot less, maybe not even at all, where you have people who you hire and they say, well, I told you to do this, you didn't do it, and it's not my fault, you didn't do it. I want you to beat me over the head. I want you to hold me accountable and responsible for this. Whenever I meet with my coach, I meet with my coach every Friday morning at 10 o'clock. In the week before, we set goals of things that I have to get done. And whenever I get to that next meeting, the first thing that he asks me is, so how are we doing? What did you get done? And if you didn't get done, we're not moving forward. You're going to do this first because this is what needs to be done. That's the kind of coach I want. I want somebody who's going to hold me accountable for what he told me to do or she told me to do. And then the last characteristic that I look for in a coach is it has to be somebody that you can trust. And, sometimes that's not always easy to see right off the bat. Sometimes it's something that you will see over time. What I would say here is when you work with someone and you get to a point where you feel that you can't trust them anymore, let them go. Terminate the relationship and move on to another coach. Because trust for me is one of the most important things. I need to be able to trust you. So those are the characteristics that I look for. Like I said, if you want to achieve your goals in the fastest way possible, get a coach. And here's the thing. Some people say, I don't know if I can afford that. Because, when you do things by yourself, it's not going to cost you economically. It's probably not going to cost you very much at all. You're just looking around, just talking to people, just going and looking on YouTube and see what's out there, stuff like that. It's going to cost you time though. And then you have to understand and you have to ask yourself, how much time are you willing to spend to get to where you want to be? If you're going to go to courses and seminars, you're going to have to pull out some money. It's going to cost you a little bit more. You're going to have to pay for the course. You're going to have to pay for the seminar. There's seminars that cost a little bit. There's seminars that cost a lot. There's online coaching programs. There's group coaching programs. And then if you want to coach though, if you want a personal coach, you can get into a group coaching program or you can get into a personal coach where you have that coach one-on-one who works with you. Now, you can spend a lot of money for that. I've heard many people say this, I don't know if I can afford that. And I think that that's not really the right question. I don't really think that's the right thing to say and to think about, whether or not you can afford it. I think the better question is, can you afford not to? Because if you have to pay $5,000 or $10,000 to get a coach to coach you over a certain period of time, just for an example, not every coach costs $5,000 or $10,000. Some cost less, some cost a lot more. But just as an example, and you say, well, I can't afford that. The question is, if you get to be a year down the road and you still haven't done anything yet, how's that going to make you feel? If you knew that you could spend $5,000 and get to where you want to be a year from now, would that be worth it? Those are the kinds of questions that you need to ask. And then there's another thing that I would do, whether you decide to do it by yourself, whether you decide to take courses and seminars and get self-help books, or whether or not you decide to get a coach. The fourth thing that I would highly suggest that you do in trying to achieve your goals is to get into a community of like-minded people. People who have your same goals and aspirations. And you can start to find these people online, in online group coaching courses, for example. You can find them in live seminars and live courses. You can find them there. And when you go to those courses, you will learn, as I said, you will learn not only from the people on stage, you will also learn from the people that you're sitting next to. Because those people have the same goals and aspirations that you do. And what you'll find is that some of those people are further along than you are. They might be way further along than you are. And you'll find that there's some people that are going to be behind you and there are going to be some people at your same level. And you can learn from all those people. From the people who are not as far along as you are, some of those people have been just dragging their feet. And so you learn from them what not to do. Some of the people who are at your same level might have skills that you don't have. And maybe they're doing some things better, but they're not doing some other things that you're doing better. And then the people that are further along than you are, those are the people that many times you can learn the most from. About what you need to do to get from where you are to at least, maybe not up to where they're at, but at least you can start to move forward. So community is so important. Relationships are so important. And I'll be honest with you. in the earlier years when I embarked on this mission, that was one thing that I was really not very good at, because I was kind of introverted, even though it might not seem like I am on these videos, because I'm sitting here in my studio all by myself. You know, when I'm on stage giving motivational speeches, I'm in my element. I love that. But when I'm in my private life, I'm very, very closed and, private. But that was wrong, to not explore those possibilities of the community and not realizing how important that was, because maybe I could have made progress faster. Not maybe, most likely. I could have made progress a lot faster. So anyway, to kind of sum it up, the different ways you can do it yourself, you can take courses and seminars, you can get a coach, make sure whatever you do, you get into a community, and just make sure that your coach has these characteristics. It's somebody who's already done what you're trying to do, has the knowledge to be able to teach you what you need to do, is a good communicator, is somebody who's willing, holds you accountable, and also somebody you can trust. Okay? So if you want more of this kind of stuff, like I said, I'm just here to give you some food for thought. If you want more of this kind of stuff, just click subscribe. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you're up to, how you're doing. And at any rate, I'll see you in the next video.